Hey there, how there, hello there, Chef Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another OOTP Legends League video. It is a off day. Well, of course, August 24th there was no games, so we go. So we're doing what we call Stats Day, where we give you some stats and leaders and how the teams are doing in the wildcard chases and everything else. You know, you have to be a top 8 to qualify for the championship and all that, the tournaments and all that. So it would be pretty impressive. So. Just gonna make sure that I get the ease down for everybody who has been eliminated so that I can, when those teams are gone, then we can, you know, determine like matchups and determine like picture, you lose one player to another team and all that. So, you know, what's that got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? 2018 Nationals are out. The E for Cardinals 82 Brewers got E. And the 2001 Diamondbacks have E. All right. Let's take a excuse me. Let's take a look at the leaderboards. John Oliver of the 93 Blue Jays leads the AL at 375. The Splendid Splitter Ted Williams of Boston second at 357, and at 354 Ty Cobb, to be expected. Home runs, Mark McGwire, despite being out for a month and a half, actually still leads with 43 home runs. Frank Howard and Man Ram with 41 each. Oakland Legends, Texas Legends, Cleveland Legends. RBI's Hank Greenberg with 133 for Detroit. Frank Robinson 118 for Baltimore, and Frank Howard 117 for Texas. So none of the Frank Howard's the only one of the players to be in the top three and two of the three categories. Stolen bases, Kenny Lofton of Cleveland with 68. Ricky Henderson of Oakland with 59. Chris Speaker of Boston with 57. OPS, John Orude, number 1098. Ted Williams second, and Babe Ruth third. Better wins above replacement, Tris Speaker 7.7, which is pretty good. John Arruda 93 Blue Jays 6.8, and Jose Canseco Tampa 6.4. Hitting streak. Ed Morgan still has the longest at 23 games. ERA. Chief Bender 254, Ron Guitry 255, and Hal Newhouser 271. Wins, Chief Bender with 19 wins, Ron Guitry and Smokey Joe Wood with 18 each. It's been a trying time for the Yankees, but yeah, Chief Bender looking pretty good. Ron Guitry also good. Strikeouts, Randy Johnson 239 for Seattle, J.R. Richard and David Price. And the saves leader right now is Papelbon with 39 for Boston, Kasasaki 35, Hoyt Wilhelm, the White Sox 35. Wins above replacement for pitcher Randy Johnson 6.8, David Price 6.4, Walter Johnson of Minnesota 6.2. Ron Guitry trying to get to 14 straight wins to tie him Wakefield's mark. So, man, those papers are so good. Yeah, and then we got to figure out some things. So, in the National League, Rogers Hornsby, the Raja, as they call it, 346 with the batting average. Babe Herman of LA, 329. Agon, 325 for San Diego. Home runs, Eddie Matthews, 42 for Atlanta. He leads. Prince Fielder, 39. Mike Schmidt, 39. Remember Mike Schmidt a couple days ago hitting that 3-run home run, and we thought Phillies were going to win, but they choked. RBI's Eddie Matthews 120, Agon 102, Larry Walker 101. So yeah, looking at things, I think Eddie Matthews and Agon might be battling for MVP. Stolen bases, Lonnie Smith of the 1980 Phillies with 70, the 1906 Cubs Evers with 67, 2007 Rockies Tavares for 56. Eddie Matthews, Agon, Todd Helton, and OPS Matthews 1044. Agon 996, Helton 995. Winners Bros replacement for a batter. Eddie Matthews and Chipper Jones 1-2. Mike Schmidt third. Hitting streak, left field duel had a 27-game hitting streak. ERA, Jeff Pfister of the 1906 Cubs 207. Andy Benz 233 for the Padres, and Hornspan 253 for the Braves. Wins, Mathewson and Peavy with 18 each. Andy Benz has 17, so that's good. Strikeouts, Dwight Gooden 185. Steven Strasburg 177. Koufax 172. Save Skip Lockwood of the Mets Legends 38, Rob Dibble 37, John Wetland 36. Wins above replacement Bob Gibson 6.5, Christy Mathewson 6.1, Andy Ben 6.1. And the winning streak. So now let's take a look at the expanded standings. The AL East, Boston leads Baltimore by 11, Yankees by 14. Three seasonal teams are behind, as per usual. Pythagorean has the Yankees in second instead of Baltimore, with the 93 Blue Jays getting the best boost at a +9. They should be at 49 wins, but they're at 58. No one's got a massive winning streak. Post All-Star game, yeah, they're looking good. Kansas City leads Chicago and Cleveland by 3. At one point, they were really winning the Central, but the White Sox and Cleveland are caught up to them. And the 85 Royals are way back there. Pythagorean shows that Cleveland should be right there to Kansas City, like 2 games back, and that's the biggest differential. Winning streak. Kansas City's actually lost 6 in a row. Their 85 doppelgangers also lost 6, but Kansas City as a top team, they should not be losing these types of games. Chicago's the only team in the Central to be above 500 post All-Star game. In the West, Oakland's crushing it by 16 over the Angels, 17 over the Mariners. Seasonal stuff, everything is 1-6, as it should be. Differential, the 2-1 Mariners should be sucking at 39 wins, but they're at 46. 9 straight wins for Seattle Legends. They are creepy. The magic number 23 for Boston needs 23, a combination of 23 Oriole wins and a combination of 23 Red Sox wins and Oriole losses means they win the division. Royals have a 31 magic number. Oakland has an 18. That's pretty good. In the North, Detroit's magic number is 23. And they lead the Blue Jays by 11, the Twins by 12. And all that. Pythagorean has Detroit number 1, Minnesota number 2. Toronto is way back in number 3. Yeah, Minnesota should be better, and so should Detroit. 27 Yankees should be ahead of the 70 Orioles. Well, the 1920 Indians are getting lucky with 48 wins. 9 straight wins for the 27 Yankees. Everyone's on a winning streak in the North except for the 1920 Indians. But yeah, the 1927 Yankees are fighting tooth and nail. Post All-Star game. Yeah, 4 of the 6 teams are better than 500. Blue Jays are at 500. Man, 27 Yankees, 21 wins. Post All-Star break. Second in the division behind Detroit. The South, Houston leads Tampa by 1, Texas by 4, so that's a close one as well. So it's a 3-horse race. And the Pythagorean says that Tampa should be winning the division, not Houston. 3-game winning streak for Texas to creep back in it. The 2-2 Angels have lost 6 straight. Post All-Star break, 3 teams above 500, with Tampa being the better one. In the NL East, the Mets lead the Phillies by 8.5, the Cardinals by 9, and the other teams sliding by. Pythagorean has the 97 Marlins being very lucky, 44 wins. They should be at 44 wins, they're at 52. St. Louis should be second in the East, not Philly. Now, Philly does have a doubleheader with, I think, the 2007 Rockies that they have to play. That could be critical. Yeah, they have a doubleheader sometime in September. 5 straight wins for the Cardinals. They're creeping on everyone. The 1980 Phillies are falling flat, 5 back. Post All-Star break, the 3 teams above. The 2019 Nats are at 500. Central. Cincy leads Pittsburgh by 9, Cubs by 17. Pythagorean has Pittsburgh really should be better. They should be at 87 wins instead of 75 and winning the division by a long shot. They are the most screwed by the Pythagorean theorem. 4 straight wins for the 60 Pirates, even though they're pretty much almost all but out of it. Post All-Star break, 3 teams above 500. Magic number for the Mets is 26. Magic number for Cincy 25. Houston's magic number 33. Detroit 23. That's a combination of wins and 7 place losses. The Giants lead the West. They're magic number 30. They're 4 up on LA, and then basically it's a 2-horse race, and Arizona's falling flat. The 1906 Cubs are trying to catch them. Pythagorean have San Fran and LA technically tied, and the 54 Giants should be tied with the 2007 Rockies. Well, they said the 54 Giants should have 51 wins, not 57. Post All-Star break. 4 teams above 500, even the 1906 Cubs. The North, Montreal leads by 1. They're matching number 33. Milwaukee's 11 up. Montreal should be second by the Pythagorean. And the 55 Dodgers are the luckiest. 10 straight losses for the 55 Dodgers. They're losing their grip on fourth place. They are in deep trouble. Well, they lost 10 straight. Post All-Star break. Yeah, they're really bad. 9-27. Way worse than the 75 Reds. I think they're one of the worst. Around only 2 teams, Montreal and Colorado, above 500. After the All-Star break, Rays have a match number 33. They're 1 up on Miami, 6 up on San Diego, and everything's clean. Pythagorean does say San Diego's being screwed from 88 to 81, and 7 straight wins for Atlanta. Well, San Diego's pitching. All right, let's look at the wild cards. So Oakland, Detroit, Kansas City, Houston, and Boston are winning their divisions. Boston would be the tops in the AL. I don't know why they did that. Yeah, so Boston is the 1 seed, Oakland 2, Detroit 3, Kansas City 4, Houston 5, which means Kansas City and Houston would have to bump into each other. Baltimore would be number 6 to face Detroit. Tampa at number 7, they would be playing Oakland. And the fight to play Boston is between Cleveland, Chicago, and the defending champion New York Yankees. So yeah, it would be a dogfight, a 3-team race right now. Texas 2 back, Toronto 4 back. The top seasonal team is the 2017 Astros, 5 games below 500. In the National League, the Giants are first, the Mets are second, the Braves are third, Reds fourth, Montreal fifth. So that means Cincy would have to face Montreal. Cincy would be home. LA would be playing Atlanta. Miami would be playing the Mets. San Diego leads Philly by half a game to face San Francisco with St. Louis 1 back. So yeah, that doubleheader in September for Philly is going to really mean a lot. The 1906 Cubs lead the seasonal parade with 3 games below 500, which isn't half bad. Considering all things, the shittiest team around, there are 3 teams with 90 or more losses. The 2020 Rays are the worst, 35-94. The 2002 Angels 92 losses, and the 2001 Diamondbacks have 91 losses. There's 7 teams that have been eliminated from postseason contention, 5 in the AL and 2 in the NL. All right, let's take a look at the wild cards, and let's take a look at division by division. Oakland. We're going to be looking at only 1 team, Oakland, because the Angels are not in wild card position. You see Ricky, you see Nap Lajoie, Fox, McGuire, Giambi, Simmons, Jackson, Tejada, and Steinbach. The big thing was that McGuire got injured, but he's back, so he should be okay. And they moved everyone back. They put Fox back at third base. Grove, Waddell, Bender, Plank, and Blue in the rotation. Not really a bad one. Bullpen, Eckersley, Hardin, Hudson, Catfish, Seattle, Blue Moon, and Mulder. Organization-wise, on the injury list, Mickey Cochran's herniated disc. The good news for Oakland, he's back in a couple days. So Cochran, who is pretty much the backup catcher and all that, to Steinbach, will probably take Frankie Hayes out of action. Frankie Hayes will be watching from the sidelines soon. And all that. Detroit. Toronto's second, but they're not in the playoffs. So Detroit got Cobb, Trammell, Greenberg, Cash, Granderson, Heilman, Evans, Freehan, and Whitaker. I think there's an injury at second base. Yeah, Gehringer's out. Probably out for the season again. I can't remember. All the starters are with 10-plus wins. Verlander, Scherzer, Bunning, Newhouser, and Morris. Bullpen, Hernandez, Lolich, McLean, Sumaya, Bridges, Hiller, and Kovelsky. Injury list, Charlie Gehringer, torn quads. The good news is he'll be back in a week. So they need him. Remember, they lost him early last year. He's been a good second baseman. Now the question is, what do you do? Phillips has played 55 games. Lou Whitaker's played 18. I wonder if Whitaker will be sent back. If I were a betting man, I would get rid of Fryman, technically. I would get rid of Fryman to get Gehringer back. But that's just me. Kansas City, well, Chicago and Cleveland are tied for the third wild card spot, which makes them in. Well, Kansas City's got Wee Willie Wilson, Johnny Damon. Well, you can't put them in Boston. They're too deep. George Brett, Javier Garcia is now playing second base. Mike Sweeney at first. Pedro Colazo, shortstop. John Mayberry, DHing Jermaine dying right and Derek Porter catching. So Kansas City's got two powerful rookies, Garcia and Colazo. It's like, well, what are you going to do with them? Jesus Sanchez, Kawika, Saberhagen, Granke, and Apier all with at least 12 wins. Bullpen Castillo, Montgomery, Farnsworth, Surya, Holland, Latal, and Bill Bray. Bill Bray I would probably not have on it. Because who the hell is he? Well, anyway, Frank White, they don't know how long he'll be out. They're uncertain. So second base, so Garcia will have to move back to second base. Carlos Beltran will be out for a couple of weeks. So he should be back. And that's pretty much going to be... Well, who did they call up? Did they call anyone up? I think they called McRae up. I don't know, but... All right, the White Sox and Cleveland. Well, they say Cleveland would be third. I don't know why. But yeah, the White Sox, let's take a look at them. You have Mosto center field. I know the weak point, but he's center field. The late Chet Lemon, Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Bay Kurt, Ventura, Konerko, Persinski, Fox, and Guillen. Now, Chicago's got massively snake bit, especially in the middle infield position. Fox and Guillen are not really the starters. You got Walsh, Sale, McDowell, Zuccotti, and Faber in the bullpen. Sale's actually been below 500. Wilhelm, Passaro, Falk, Figpen, Fortin, Brewer, and Radinsky. In the bullpen injury list, yep, look at the three middle infielders. Eddie Collins, fractured thumb. Good news, he'll be back in a week, so that'll help out. Nelly Fox. And Louis Aparicio, fractured rib. He'll be back in a month, in a week. So Aparicio, well, has had to be to the shortstop because Luke Appling just had to have a ruptured Achilles tendon. He's out till January. So Appling's out for the year. Collins and Aparicio will be back. So that's probably going to put Guillen and maybe George Davis. I don't know what they'll do with the shortstop. Get rid of one of the shortstops once Aparicio is back. Yeah, the White Sox have the advantage of having two of their middle infielders back. They are losing one, but that's okay. Cleveland, they're Lofton and Morgan, who got questioned for being the first baseman ahead of Jim Thome, but it's worked out. Van Ram, Bell, Colafito, Rosen, Viagra, Boudreaux, and O'Neill. You got Perry, Sabathia, Feller, Lee, and McDowell in the rotation. The bullpen, Josh, Siebert, LaRoche, Pastano, Jones, Perez. Okay, and early win. Injury list, Betancourt with a bicep tendonitis. He's out for a few weeks. 17 saves. So Cleveland will have to use Addy Joss as the closer. But it's kind of worked. And Bobby Afila's broken bone. He was practically out of there. So yeah, he was the second baseman. So now Viagra will have to be a second base all by himself. All by myself. Houston, with Tampa Bay in the second wild card spot. Houston's got Cesar Cedeno, Biggio, Bergman, Bagwell, Caminiti, Glenn Davis DHing, Hidalgo, Reynolds, and Osmus. Dickie Fawn's out for the year, if I remember correctly. J.R. Richard, Mike Scott, Shane Reynolds, Don Wilson, and Larry Durker now the fifth starter. I think Houston's got a starter gone for the year. I can't remember. Joe Necro should have been the fifth starter. Yeah, I think Houston's got an injury in the rotation because Larry Durker definitely is a guy in the bullpen. Yeah, Roy Oswald's got elbow tendonitis. He's out for a month. He might be back for the end of the regular season. He might not. So that might be big for Houston. They'll probably get him back by the bullpen. Dickie Vaughn's broken bone. He'll be out for 8 weeks. He might not be back in time for the playoffs. So that hurts the shortstop position, but Reynolds there. And Bob Watson has a fractured wrist, a strained rib cage, and a sore knee. He's out for a month. He might be back in time for the playoffs. That's why Kevin Bass, I believe, is kind of in the lineup. And then we got Tampa Bay, or the second wild card. Crawford, Vaughn, Longoria, Kensenko, Huff, Longo, Dave Martinez in center. Diano, and Imamura. Their bullpen rotation, Casimir, Price, Garza, Helks, and Shields. Bullpen, McGee, Belfour, Hal, Roberto, Neem, and Ronnie, and Early Alvarez. Injury list, Ben Sobris, severe hip pain. The good news is he'll be back in 3 weeks. They need him at second base, they say. Iwamura could do so well, and Cantu will have to hold down the fort. And the Boston Red Sox with Baltimore behind them. You got Speaker, you got Garcia Parra, you got Ted, you got Big Pape, Rice, Lynn, Pedroia, Fisk, and Collins. You know, Clemens, Cy Young, Smokey Joe, Wakefield, Lester. Great bullpen. All these guys have had rotation. All these guys have won 15 games. All 5 of them. Papelbon, Bard, Tiant, Radetz, Gordon, Breachin, and Dutch Boy being your bullpen guys. There's 2 Dutch liners. I had to name one. And unlike any other team in the playoff race, nobody is hurt. They have no injuries. Boston is clean. Big Papi, I know, got injured early last year, but yeah, Boston might actually be the team everyone will want to be because they have no injuries. And let's look at Baltimore. Got Seisler, Murray, Ken Williams, Robinson, Ripken, Xavier at catcher. Something is wrong because I don't think he's the main catcher. I think it's Hoyles. Brooks, Blair, and Bellinger, or Belanger if you're French Canadian. Palmer, Messina, Bedard, Shocker, Cuellar. Your rotation, decent. And then you got Stoddard, BJ, McNally, Flanagan, Burden, Johnson, and Pappas. And your bullpen, Rick Dempsey, fractured finger. Good news for Barrows. He'll be back in a week. So that will probably mean, I think they might put Hoyles out of there. I feel like Hoyles will be probably replaced once Dempsey comes back. I mean, the rosters will expand next week, but there's still one more week of 30 players instead of 40. National League. Let's look at the Giants. And let's also look at the Dodgers. But Giants, Robbie Thompson at second, Bill Terry DHing, Willie Mays playing center, McCovey at first, Kevin Mitchell, Odd, Cepeda, Posey, and Jackson. Bullpen, well, the rotation, excuse me, Mathewson, Marichal, Schmidt, and Lincecum. Matt Keane, the 5th guy. I think there's an injury, obviously, because 3-3. Romo, Wilson, Beck, Kruko, Wiltz, Schumacher, and McGinty are your bullpen. Injured list? Yep, I knew it. Carl Hubble has a strained up ab muscle. He'll be out for a month. He might be back in time for the playoffs. 15-3. What a time to get hurt. But as I said, he might be back in time for the playoffs, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Gary LaFell's shoulder inflammation. Dude had a 1.67 ERA in 23 games. He was 6-2 with 2 saves, and he's back. So the Giants are going to get Gary LaFell back. The question on my mind is how healthy will he really be? And Barry Bonds torn labium. He's out till January at the least. He was doing so well, 290. The good news is Cepeda is a serviceable replacement. But yeah, the Giants don't have Barry Bonds, and he probably would have been crushing home runs left, right, and center. The Dodgers, they're in the playoffs right now. Kemp, Pedro Guerrero, Herman, Snyder, Garvey, Hodges, Campy, Lopez, and Russell. Well, there has to be something wrong because David Lopes does not have the look of an everyday second baseman. And I can't remember who the Dodgers second baseman note is. I can't remember. Oh, is it Jack? I think it's Jackie. It has to be Jackie. Well, anyway, Koufax, Nomo, Kershaw, Venezuela, and Fonts. Your rotation, your bullpen, Gagne, Jansen, Broxton, Sutton, Grimes, Saito, Drysdale. Now, Jackie Robinson, herniated disc. He'll be back in a couple weeks. So that's the good news for the Dodgers is he'll be back. David Lopes will have to hold down the fort. Carl Ferrello will be out for a month plus with a fractured thumb. 54 games. He was practically a backup right fielder. I think Babe Herman. He was sharing time with Babe Herman in right field, but now he's hurt. The Reds, well, yeah, 84 wins. And yeah, it's weird how the 3 wildcard teams plus Philly and St. Louis are actually got more wins than the Expos, and they're winning the division. Well, anyway, never mind. We've got Morgan, Rose, Fotto, Clue, Davis, O'Neill, Larkin, Bench, and Aaron Boone. I think Boone's in for Perez or something. Has to be something. Vandermeer, Maloney, Rijo, Soto, and Cueto, all with at least 11 wins. Dibble, Chapman, Danny Jackson, Gollett, Brantley, Sullivan, Rixey in the bullpen. Organization-wise, injured list, nobody. Cincy, just like Boston, has nobody hurt. So, but they have 4 catchers. I can't have that. I've got to dump one of the catchers off. Well, it's not like dumping. But my question is, who do I put in? How many outfielders do they have? They have 5. Yeah, you can't have 4 catchers. But they've played a lot of games. Bubbles Hargrave has played a lot. And I am going to make a move. Griffey Sr.? Yeah, and Ken Griffey Sr. is going to come play for the Reds. Yeah, why would you have 4 catchers? I mean, you could change things up. You could change things up. later on. Anyway, Montreal 77 wins, and they're in first place over Colorado. Got Ray Soriano, Guerrero, Dawson, Nick Johnson DHing, Carter, Young, Wallach, and Brooks. Doesn't look completely good for the Expos, but you never know. Pedro, Strasburg, Dennis, Gio, and Pascal Perez. Well, Perez 4 and 6 is like, why is he number 5? There's rumors circulating that Steve Rogers should be back in the rotation. I would put Steve Rogers back in the rotation, but maybe so. Anyway, Wetland, Clippard, Gullickson, Rojas, Bryn Smith, Urbina, and Stevie Rogers in the bullpen. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Injured list, nobody's heard from Montreal. They have this Javier Lopez Jimenez guy. Yeah, so they have a lot of infielders. I mean, outfielders. They have 7 outfielders. Yeah, for me, I think that Rogers should come in. Maybe come back. Mets. Well, the Phillies are half game back in the wild card. But Dexter Hernandez, Pizza, Strawberry, Wright, Bonilla, Kent, Ashburn, Harrelson. The rotation: Gooden, Seaver, Cone, Fernandez, and Guzman. Lockwood, Benitez, Viola, McGraw, Franco, Jesse Orozco now in the bullpen, and Apodaca. I think there's an injury. Cleon Jones, sprained ankle, out for a few weeks. So, yeah, they have plenty of outfielders. They have 7 on their team. So, Cleon, it's not too worrying. Yeah, Roscoe. I'm like, well, what did you do? What did you do? Did you just dump? Did you just say, well, we need an extra arm in the bullpen? I don't know about that. Braves, well, the Marlins and Padres would make the playoffs. Giles at second, Eddie Matthews DHing, Hank Aaron, Chipper, Rico, Hobby, Adcock for Cull, and Andrew Jones. Maddox, Necros, Bond, Melwood, Glavin. Kimbrough, Roller, Smoltz, Rocker, Leidenberg, Garber, and Sane. There, yeah, 6 and 8 Sane. Well, he was the starter when Maddox got hurt. Injured list: Chris Medlin, strained hamstring, out for a month. Plus, so I don't think they're really worried about it. Ed Brandt, 29 years old, in the bullpen. The Marlins have Q Ferris, Henley, Cabrera, Stanton, Sheffield DHing, Lee, Kotze, Lowe, and Charlie Johnson. Beckett, Josh Brown, Burnett, Willis, your rotation. Harvey, Nen, Levon, Lead, Leiter, Moda, Oviedo, and Nolasco in the bullpen. I don't know why JC Oviedo's in this. Injured list: Miles Thomas out with torn triceps. They picked him up in the 2002 Angels. He'll be back in a month. Omar Infante, the finger, out for a month. That's why Q Ferris is there. And Moises Alou has a PCL injury. He'll be out for a few weeks. He'll be back. So that's why I think Chuck Carr's in there. San Diego. You got Templeton, Gwynn, Nevin, McGriff, Agon, Winfield, Giles, Randy, and Tennants. There. Rotation: Peavy, Benz, Latos, Hurst, and Hamilton. The bullpen: Hoffman, Davis, Bell, Ashby, Jafecki, Leon, and Randy Jones. Organization injured list: Benito with another labrum. He's out for the year. He was doing so well. Well, they have to have Pancho Trilcho. And so that's all. So that's all for now. I've got to set up matchups for the next week because the 28th and 30th has a booking thing, and I got to go American League. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.